we spin, let's start out with just why we would spin, okay? We spin basically to get on that leg and go into an X guard, right? So what it would look like, instead of pulling, it would look like this. I spin under Lance, I let this leg go, I flip it out to the side, and I end up on X guard on the opposite leg. And once again, you saw that I spun to the opposite leg. Now I'm on X guard on this side. So it's a great 1-2 punch. If I'm really getting good shin to shin action here, and Lance takes a step out wide to say, "Hey, I'm going to stay away from you," then you could spin underneath, especially if you like X guards, because we can get an X guard on this leg very easy by pulling. Well, we can also get the X guard on that leg, but with a spin. When you spin, we'll use this left leg, and I'll go over this again in a lot more detail for you later when we're doing our X guard entries. But this would be why I would spin. I would spin under, I would kick this leg out to the side, and then I would be into X guard on this side with my specific X guard attacks. Without the gi, that's about the only time that you're going to really want to spin. There is a double leg that we'll do very early on that I get to my hip, but we're not spinning all the way underneath on our back. Now, let me convince you, if you believe otherwise, let me tell you why I interpret shin to shin like this. So Lance is going to change the positions, and he's going to lock on a shin to shin, elbow deep, everything looks good. The problem with spinning without the gi, when we don't have a lot of gripping on this side, on this arm per se, the problem is if I have a lot of experience in shin to shin as well, and Lance begins to spin, I can time that spin and I can sit down with him in this near knee cut scenario. And it doesn't feel good for him. I've got my weight off of him, and my foot can be pointed. If we rotate around, I'm going to spin him around so it'll be front for camera. If we rotate around for you guys, as he spins, what happens is this. My knee is no longer on the center of his chest, which you might think, hey, that's great. It's actually not so great. Because what it does is it doesn't allow him to lift my foot. If he lifts my foot now, you see, like, I don't go anywhere. It doesn't affect my weight whatsoever. It doesn't make me post my hands on the mat. It doesn't do anything beneficial to him. What is beneficial to him is just that my weight is not on his chest. But as we mentioned earlier, if you've got elbow deep and you've got a good active hook and a good knee position, the weight, you will not feel his weight on your chest anyway. So what spin will do is get me, the top player, into this position where now I can begin backpedaling, I can begin overhooking, and I can begin my knee cutting. And we have all kinds of Darce attacks, we have all kinds of different things here, even if he's elbow deep, because we're not going under the space between the armpit front. I'm going in the space as an overhook, which is completely different as I get off to the side. So it's going to allow your opponent, your training partner, in this case me versus him if he's on the bottom, it's going to allow me to counter. And it's going to allow me to start to get away from all of the majority of attacks. One other really nice thing to note is when you spin, you lose the ability of high level leg attacks, even though it looks like you don't. Again, spinning, if Lance spun and pulls my leg, this is what spinning looks like. He can pull my leg into Ashigarami, so he can shoot that through. Yeah, looks like that is good. This is great as long as I don't follow him down. So, again, if I'm very, very good and adept at shin to shin, and he spins and I just come down with him, again, it's very hard to get into Ashigarami because the angle of his knee is not good. He's got to pull my leg all the way over there when he's on one hip. It's going to be so difficult. And then now I can start to sprawl, I can start to knee cut, I can start to get my chest down, and then shin to shin starts to become more and more ineffective especially if you don't have a single. If you have a great single, you could still bump the person forward and come out on a single, but that's not the idea. The idea is to use shin to shin as an immediate offense, and we'll go over how we can use singles later in the videos. But ideally, that spinning can end up being quite not as good as what you might want. So let's focus with no gi on pulling for the next several videos, and then we can look at our spin entry into X guard, which in my opinion, no gi is more or less one of the only reasons why I believe that we should be spinning with no gi.